This music and these graphics, actually everything about this game is really nostalgic. I played it as a kid and I really loved it. And I mean, I saw a box for a game with a giant shiny green dragon on it. Of course I had to ask my parents to buy it. And I played so much of it as a kid, so it is finally time to speedrun it. This is a week to speedrun Pokémon Emerald. Enjoy! After I decided to learn any percent glitchless, which means reaching the end of the game without the help of bugs and glitches, I did what I usually do at first. I searched for some guides, for some resources to help me out. And let me tell you, the Pokemon community is really good when it comes to guides. There are resources for routing, for various mechanics of the games, all really useful. But before going into much details with them, let me explain a little bit about the game. Because I know, a lot of you will know already, but not all of you. So, this is a turn-based RPG. You don't fight directly, you capture Pokemons which will fight in your place. You need to win against 8 gym leaders. There are 8 gyms scattered around. After you've done that, you gain access to the league. In the league, you need to fight against the champion of the entire region, and after you win, you become champion yourself, and you reach the end of the game. I started my practice by practicing a trick called RNG manipulation, which is just a fancy way to say that you can manipulate the random elements of the game. It's really easy in theory, not as much in practice, because what you need to do is save the game, reset the console, and do a specific set of inputs. And if you do it just right, you can do a lot, like manipulating the stats of your Mudkip, being able to make the first fight really fast, and being able to skip all of the encounters for a certain amount of time. But I had a certain problem at first. I couldn't really make the timer work. There is a specific timer you can download that is used to time the inputs, and my problem was, because I was using an emulator, I had one key binded to resetting the console, and the same key I binded to the timer to make it start. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't bind the same key to both things, they didn't really work. And after spending almost a day on this problem and trying a lot of things, I found out the stupidest thing ever. There was an option on the timer, you just need to check it, and it works! Talking about RNG manip, I cannot do it. Or at least I cannot do the most important part. But it's not surprising, not only you need to press A on a specific frame, but the timings with the emulator are probably different, and I couldn't really find resources to help me figure out what the difference is. But using an emulator has its advantages. I could play the entire game following the guide, and in the meantime I could set up some save states, which ended up being really useful. Just playing the game like this really helped in remembering the route. Not that it's difficult to remember, I mean, because I cannot manipulate the RNG, I cannot acquire an Abra, which would be ideal because you can use teleport, but that makes the route slightly more confusing, as opposed to the really simple route I had to memorize. No, but really, this is kind of insane. But how did my initial casual run go? Actually pretty good. I was able to follow the guide, even though the guide assumes that my Mudkip has much better stats than he did. And so everything went pretty smooth, until the 5th gym. The 5th gym is the first gym in which I had to make some adjustments. And this is not really good, because what I had to do is use more X items and do things a little bit differently. You actually need to use a lot of them during the run, and the guide tells you exactly when and which ones to use. But every time you use one, you basically give up a turn to use it. And that turn can be pretty important because the opponent can attack you. Not only that, but you need to buy every item you use, which means that if you use too many, you need more money. But luckily I was able to go past the 5th gym with just some minor adjustments. I had to do similar things for the 6th and the 7th gyms. And I also had to use a Poké Center to heal my Pokémons at some point. which is something that you usually don't do during the run. After the 7th gym, you know what's coming. Finally, Rayquaza was there. I captured him, and thanks to him I was able to completely finish the game following the guide. No one could stand between me and becoming the champion of the ON region. So now I reached the point where I played the game once, but it took me 3 days to do so. Yeah, it took me a long time. It's a bit to be expected considering that the world record is like 2 hours and a half. It's a pretty long game. But I really had to hurry at this point. And not only that, the 4th day I was so tired. Like I couldn't do anything. In fact, just take a look at the notes I took for the day. After resting, I practiced some basic movement. So running, biking. Biking in particular is really tough because the bike is really fast, it's really easy to lose control of it and run into additional trainers. Talking about trainers, there are ways to manipulate them to make it so they don't see you. I did practice that too, but I decided to only do the most safe and basic strat. While I was doing all of this, I also decided to practice the most confusing parts of the game. You know, I just wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The last 2 things that I practice are fights and buying items. Buying items because I wanted to get used to menuing. And talking about fights, I'm adding something here because I don't know where to say it. But the Death Dwarf strat with Flannery is so cool. You go against her, you get poison, you win, but then you die outside of the battle and you get teleported to Dewford. That's just insane, I so love it. And so I went on the 6th day, prepared as I could. I gave RNG Manip another chance, but it kept on not working, so whatever. Let's do a run, and I couldn't. I couldn't because my car needed repairs, so I didn't have enough time for the run. That's just unfortunate, but that's what happened, and I couldn't really do much about it. The 7th day was gonna be the last day. Sadly enough, I ran out of time in the 7th day too. So I decided to give myself an additional day because again, I had some problems with my car, so I thought it was only fair to do so. It took a while for my run to actually start, cause I had to reset plenty of times to get a decent mudkip. I was able to do the rest pretty smoothly until I got to the 5th gym. As I said before, this gym is pretty difficult, and even though I found a setup in my practice, during practice I had a different mudkip with different stats, which means that the same setup didn't really work here. So after trying and trying again, and almost winning a lot of times, I had to bite the bullet, get out of the gym, buy some more items, and use them in battle. The time loss was huge, but at least I was able to go past Norman. The rest of the game went pretty well. Some spots that usually give trouble didn't really give trouble to me until the 7th gym, and the 7th gym was really atrocious. It took me so long to go past it. I really couldn't buy more items, because using more items here means sudden death. I had to get lucky, I had to do everything perfect, otherwise I couldn't win. And at the end of it I was able to win, but I was really destroyed. But I kept on pushing. I got to Rayquaza, I captured him, I got to the 8th gym, piece of cake, I got to Victory Road, go past it, go past the Elite Four, no problem at all, and then I did one final mistake. I wanted to save before the champion, but I accidentally stepped up too much and I entered the room with the champion without saving. And here I didn't really trust my gut feeling. I followed the guide that again assumes that you have different stats, and I died. Which means that I had to do all of the Elite Four again, which is what I did. I went against the champion again, this time I saved, and this time I won. The final time was 5 hours, 49 minutes and 30 seconds. It is a terrible time, I know, but considering that I have 2 huge time saves for the next time, I'm pretty sure I can do so much better than this. And I'm pretty happy I stuck with it till the end. So, this was a week to speedrun Pokémon Emerald. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm trying to get better at doing these videos. And I'll see you next time.